You get into studying psychology, which every marketing thing is. How do you manipulate people into giving you your money?
Mm,
It is a form of theft.
mm, yeah, yeah,
You know, if they say the same thing over and over and over again, they know damn well that we're tape recorders. We will react to whatever tape recording is going on. Whatever belief you make me have is what I will believe to be true.
mm,
So you put on a media, a belief, people will buy that. And where do you get commercials from? Media.
yeah,
That's why you see like Alex Jones, who's telling the truth. He's as truthful as his marketing campaign. Who
mm,
who is advertising on his shows? How is he
mm,
earning his money?
yeah,
Through marketing.
for marketing.
As long as you're marketing, you've sold your soul.
Yeah,
Which I get a kick out of Colleen Thomas is saying, "Oh, I'm going to save you. Come market with me."
I know she said something about I'm in contact with a Pleiadian ship or something, and it's hiding round back of Jupiter. And when people very shortly now, this was in November, I think, November or December last year, and she said something about those who those who want to leave this planet before it's too late. They need to come to me. We need to organise something. She says, I know the ticket's not going to be all that expensive. I'll keep the cost down for you. I thought, man, she's really insane.
But as soon as I seen her, I was like, "Oh my god!" I made a video on. She is nuts. She's gone Colleen crazy. And then I
Yeah,
thought, somebody makes somebody that crazy. This just does not happen overnight. Something has
no,
happened
it
to
doesn't.
her. So I went and did some research on her own website. She lets you know her background. People will tell you what their issues are. They got no problems telling you what their issues are. And her daughter died. And she couldn't save her daughter. And she's a mother.
Mm,
Parents are supposed to save their kids. So she's got to be stronger than the system. She's also a nurse. Can you imagine being a nurse and not being able to save your own child?
yeah,
And then she comes from a military family. Very strict, very obedient, believe the lie.
yeah.
So she is very obedient and getting everybody to believe her lie.
Mm,
And there's always somebody else out there that's saving you. In the military,
yeah,
there's always somebody else that's leading you to the lie. So she's got to be the lie.
yeah.
But she's really, really angry, really frustrated, really sad. Her heart is broken.
Mm,
You know, so when you ask that information field for what's the truth, you can't be in that state of mind.
mm,
That's why I know that I can't meditate, I can't do any of that until my heart is actually healed, because then I will meditate on all the problems. I will find all of the wrong answers. You know, like, it's just not the way to be. So it's got to be okay. You got to brainwash yourself into feeling it. That's why that water worked for me. Is when I meditate, it's not trying to get my brain empty, but to get my brain filled with something else. You know, not filled with a lack of love, but feel what it feels like to feel love. and try and make that chemical when I'm really angry, when I'm really pissed off. That's why it's like best to forgive. One of the bottles is accepting and allowing. It's a lot
Mm-hmm.
easier to feel loving when you can just accept and allow, okay, all of this is really bad. There's something really good about it. Just don't know it. Then you can sort of sit back a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and just, okay, what's good about this? What's good about this? And something will come up if you're asking for something good. Something will come up with it. But your answers are still going to be as truthful as the level of love you have inside you. So the
Yeah.
more love you have, the more truth you'll get. But if you're only sort of half loving, you're only going to get half truth.
Mm. Yeah. So you're not going to get the full picture.
You're not going to get the full picture. And I know at least I don't have the full picture yet. Every time I'm smoking, I don't have the full picture yet.
I mean, if we all, I think at some point, if we get the chance, I think if we all come together, that'll be the time that we'll have reached. We'll have reached that place where originally we came from. I think what we're doing is we started there and we got duped and duped and duped and duped as we went through each lifetime, and here we are wanting to go back.
It's not about going back. It's
Yeah.
not about going back. It's about evolving. It's about maturing into what we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like you are a child and your experiences make you grow up.
Mm.
So it's like all of humanity, we're just infants right now.
Yeah.
And it really kind of helps to understand what kind of parent to be by using God's example. Does God interfere? No.
Mm.
So when my kids make mistakes, it really causes a lot of conflict the more I interfere.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm supposed to interfere, but when they want to ask for answers, I'll be there. I'll help guide. That's all I am, is a guide. That's all God is a guide.
I think that's the one of the things about being a good parent, rather than trying to, you know, push your beliefs onto them, just guide them and allow them to make their own decisions and things.
I found it like I was fooled into the pressures of society to be the kind of parent. And so I've made all of the mistakes and I've had 4 kids. But once all of my power was taken away because I had a deadbeat that said, don't listen to your mother. So I didn't have kids that would listen to me. Their lives were really, really good. Anytime that they had a problem, devastated, they would come to me, totally devastated. But within 5 minutes, they're on top of the world. They figured out the answer to the problem within 5 minutes. Like it's very, very fast when you can have that conversation that helps them find their own answers. Because I didn't tell them I only listened to them. I listened to what it is that they wanted and asked them, well, what do you think? And made them think and made
Yeah.
them look at, well, if that is true, what are the consequences? What would happen if you actually did that?
Yeah.
And as soon as they seen it for themselves, that's how they solved their problems really, really quick.
Mm.
But then when I crashed and burned, where part of the problem there was so much pressure on me to feed them and clothe them, and all of that abuse in the court systems, and like I had to be in school 24/7. all of my kids needed their parents more than ever, so I had my parenting, I had to be there too. And then I was being drawn in court 24/7, and everybody had health issues that I had, like there was at least three major priorities that were calling on me, and they all wanted me 24/7. So there's no way I could have been a good parent then.
You can't divide your time like that, can you?
No,
It's
no,
impossible.
no. So it's but it was the system. It was the system that we lived in that um, you still had to make money
Mm,
to feed your kids.
mm,
I probably never would have gotten a divorce if my husband focused on family, but he had no focus on family. So it was like I had to be both. And I couldn't get him to hear anything. There was no talking to him. But I know
Where did
he will
you?
change. Eh?
What did you do as a job then?
I went to school to take programming
Mm,
because it was predicted to be a demand career at the time. Um, I was good at it. I only had a grade 9 education and I graduated with 89%. Out of all of that hell that I went through, I got 89%. So I would say the amount of parenting, how good a parent I was equal to the amount of my education. How good I was
mm,
in the court system was equal there. I mean, I did really, really good in every one of those departments, but it was that 10% that sucked. 10% of my parenting sucked. 10% of my legal work was sucked. Basically the legal thing, the only thing that I went wrong with legal is I trusted everybody to be honest. I trusted in a legal system to work the way they said it would work. Nobody told me I needed to lie.
mm.
If I lied, I would have won every single thing, but I didn't lie. But I also had people that didn't want to work. Like that was part of the problem. They say that we have a legal system, that we have a legal aid. Well, these freaking legal aid lawyers are saying it's pointless. You'll never collect any money. He's playing games. It's pointless. I'm not even going to read your file. So they go in front of a judge, and a judge doesn't know that, hey, they didn't even read the file. They didn't even want to show up. I had my first legal aid attorney refused to meet with me, showed up in court an hour late. So there was not even a discussion of what was going on. And her excuse was, she says to me, I had a paying client that needed my attention.
Right.
And the result of that was my ex-husband had not paid any child support for a year, and the garnishee of his wages was now taking into effect, and he didn't like it, so he lifted the garnishee. That's how good the lawyer was. Like I'm like living off credit cards, living off of every single thing I could possibly live off of. I had a student loan. I was living off of an $800 a month student loan. And raising, like at the time there was three kids. My oldest son was coming back and forth, but he was supporting himself, but still, the oldest one was still using, I needed me too. So 3.5 kids I was supporting on an $800 a month student loan. And my rent was $900. I was a genius just to be able to get to where I was for a year and get 89% in school and to be able to make appointments with lawyers and get everything that needed to be done. They just didn't bother showing up. Nobody did their job. I did my job, but nobody did their job. I got food on the table all the time. You know, like I made everything work. The rent was paid all of the time. You know, if my kids needed me, I was there. Not all the time, but a good 90% of the time. But a lot of other influences were screwing them up all the time. So, but that floored me. A year without paying your garnishee finally takes effect, and you stop the garnishee. And then he
Oh,
ended up wiping it all